Okay, guys, we're picking up with our third claim, which we are talking about how other countries have let women serve in this combat capacity and have been fine. We actually combined our claim and our evidence in this one, and that's okay. We also, like I said before, had very solid, strong claim evidence reasoning for two parts of this, so sometimes we can combine the two to make it flow more smoothly, and that's fine. Also, we have already referenced Harding, so now we can, we referenced her whole name, so now we can just use her last name in writing. We never use the authors just their first name, always their last name. That's disrespectful, essentially, to reference by just their first name. So if we're only going to use one name, we use their last name, okay? So we're starting with our reasoning for our last paragraph here. And if we go back, on this one, we're going to compare and contrast. So we're going to compare the Israel and Norwegian militaries to the U.S. and militaries and show the difference between those, okay? So our last line, our claim and our evidence, was finally Harding lists multiple examples of countries who let women serve in this capacity, specifically focusing on the Israel Defense Force and Norwegian military. Okay, so none of these other countries none of these other countries have had problems. So why would the United States? So this is a rhetorical question. I'm not really looking for an answer on this. And sometimes you can plop a rhetorical question. It is a strong argument strategy. However, you don't want to overuse it. You really want to be particular when you use it. Maybe use it, if you use it at all, once in a paper. You sometimes when we tell kids about the rhetorical question, they then use it like every claim or every reasoning, and you don't want to overdo it. So it's more powerful if you just use it once. We're going to use it here. It does work. It's effective. So we're going to use it, but I'm not going to use it again in my essay. Okay. If the U.S. is really the country of equal opportunity, then the country, whoa, sorry guys, can't type all of a sudden, should have been the leader of this trend, not a follower. The other countries have taught the U.S. that women can efficiently and effectively perform their duties in combat positions, and the military will not fall apart. Units will perform the same, if not better. So now I'm going to go with my concluding sentence. I'm going to use a conclusion transition, so that of without a doubt, which is a concluding transition. Women in combat, and I'm just going to restate my topic sentence, which was that women in combat is advantageous to the military. So I'm going to say essentially the same thing, just say it a little differently. Women in combat will positively affect our military. And that is the end of our argument paragraph. So if we go back and look at it, let's just look at all the parts to make sure that we have them. I'm going to label them on here for us. So we have women serving combat roles as advantageous to the U.S. Oop, I have a little typo there. To the U.S. military. That is our topic sentence, right? Our first claim, so claim 1 is a woman's sex should not determine how far she can advance in her career. Our evidence is in the article, All Combat Roles Now Open to Women, Defense Secretary says. Matthew Rosenberg and David Phillips point out that because women have not been able to hold jobs that are needed for career advancement, women have been unfairly held back by the military. So we kind of did a combination of a summary and also direct quotes. We still need to give credit to the authors because they are the ones who originally had those thoughts. I use their full names and the article title because I have not done that yet. If I had already done the article titles, say in the intro, I would not have put them there. And then I have my page number in parentheses with the period after. And that is our evidence 1, which then goes into our reasoning 1. Because of their gender, and this is our cause and effect, women are not able to take on the same leadership positions as men, which stifles career women's ambitions and takes away their ability to make a fair and equal living. Women should be given the same opportunities as an equal male counterpart to get ahead, to better support themselves and their family. So we have a couple of lines there for our reasoning. Make sure that we are aiming for 2 or 3 lines. We don't want, or even 3 or 4 lines of reasoning. We don't want just one sentence of reasoning. So then we move in back to our claim 2, which we start with at the same time. When women are provided leadership opportunities, many organizations experience greater success. So that's our claim 2. Then we move into our evidence 2, which is from a different article. We haven't mentioned the article's title or the author's name yet, so we're going to do that. And we talk about how it summarizes studies which show that a group's collective intelligence tend to increase as the percentage of women in the group increases, and that groups with more women have even more even communication distribution patterns. Again, that's on page 8 and 9, so I put both of those page numbers there, have my dash there between the two, parentheses around it, period after. So then I go into my reasoning 2. So we are now, one may argue that intelligence and communication are the most, and this is we were referencing our, the studies and where they came from, credibility of the studies, and also elaboration. One may argue that intelligence and communication are the 2 most important skills needed in a battle situation. The military should learn from these studies, which are done by reputable sources, Carnegie Mellon and MIT, and give women the opportunity to improve the mental strength and communication skills of a combat unit. And then we have our third and final claim, which we actually did our claim and our, so this is claim 3, and then we also did our evidence 3 together. Finally, Harding lists multiple examples of countries who let women serve in this capacity, specifically focusing on the Israel Defense Force and Norwegian military. And then we go into our last reasoning. None of these other countries have had problems, so why would the United States? If the U.S. is really the country of equal opportunity, then the country should have been the leader of this trend, not a follower. The other countries have taught the U.S. that women can efficiently and effectively perform their duties in combat positions, and the military will not fall apart. Units will perform the same, if not better. And then we end with our concluding sentence, which we use a concluding transition with. Without a doubt, women in combat will positively affect our military. And that we just restated our topic sentence. So we said it in a different way. Okay, so that is a completed argument paragraph. You do need to have that copied down on your line sheets in your combat article, your combat packet, and make sure that you use that as a reference when you're writing your own argument paragraph. This is your model.